The Boy, Season 5, Episode 6, has got to be the most action-packed episode we've gotten out of these 6 episodes that have aired so far. And because this episode had so much going on, I'm only going to be reviewing the main things that happened and giving my opinion on whether or not they actually were. First off, I cannot believe these theories were true. Man, the Deep killed Black Noir. And honestly, we should have seen this coming because they've been building up this beef for a while now, especially what happened in the previous episode where the Deep killed Noir's producer, Adam, in probably the most disgusting and most disrespectful way possible. So, you already knew that Black Noir had to lock in and get his revenge on the Deep, and he did exactly just that. But it came with a cost, and Noir did not play around whatsoever. He went as far as framing the Deep for a massive oil spill that killed sea life, which, if you ask me, is kind of genius because in Episode 5, the Deep basically killed Noir's hopes and dreams by murdering Adam because No talked to Adam like this acting career could actually change his life. Like, if this worked out, he could finally move on from VA and become something more than just another replaceable soup. So it only made sense for Noir to attack the Deep's life in return, which is the ocean and the sea life. Now, I'm not going to lie, I kind of hated the fact that the Deep was the one to kill Noir. I really wish it was the other way around because bringing back Black Noir after he died in Season 3 already kind of felt pretty pointless to me. But now, it even feels even more pointless. He came back, did almost nothing important, and then died again. He was basically just a fill-in for the original Noir, who actually had real history, real mystery, and actual real feats behind him. The replaceable Noir had literally none of that. Now, the boys obviously wanted to get the V1 before Homelander did, and their big genius plan to get Bombsight in their sight, see what I did there? Was to capture his lover, Golden Geisha. And as you can probably guess, that plan went about as stupidly as expected. But to be fair, it wasn't entirely stupid because it did get Bombsight to pull up on them. But the problem is, it also started one of the craziest fights of the entire episode. When the boys tried to get Bombsight to hand over the V1, he was not budging at all. And then, things got even worse when Homelander got the drop on them by using Golden Geisha's Vault Alert necklace to track her location. But before Homelander could even get there, Bombsight went into an all-out brawl with the boys. And of course, they couldn't do absolutely anything to Bombsight. They were clearly trying their best, but this man was clearly not someone they could just jump and overpower. Then Soldier Boy pulled up before Homelander could, because Sister Sage texted him to pull up. And that's when the episode really kicked into another gear. Soldier Boy and Bombsight start throwing down, and you can feel this wasn't just a random fight. These two had over 80 years of beef built up between them, so when they finally got face to face, it felt personal for both of them. And right when it looked like Soldier Boy was about to kill Bombsight, Bombsight pleaded for his life. That's when the fight suddenly turned into this weirdly emotional heart-to-heart between them. Now, I know they're clearly trying to bring in as many vault-rising characters as possible to build hype and make sure the audience are more familiar with them before, the spin-off comes into fruition. What makes it even crazier is how Homelander and Soldier Boy bond over Stormfront, which was honestly one of the weirdest scenes in the episode. Like, you both love the same woman, you both had history with her, and instead of that making things awkward or tense for you guys are actually bonding over it. This scene had me thinking about the Twilight movies all over again. But instead of them pulling in Edward and Jacob, where they're fighting for Stormfront's love, they kind of just accepted it and bonded over her. Like, I don't know, that's kind of weird. Soldier was like, H, you love Stormfront too. Well, here you go, pal. Here's V1. And as strange as that was, it actually pushes the story forward in a pretty interesting way. It also shows how badly Sister Sage miscalculated Soldier Boy's hatred for Homelander. She really thought Soldier Boy hated him enough to stop him no matter what, but that was not the case whatso. Now, I theorized before the episode that Bombsight wouldn't just give up the V1 out of the kindness of his heart, because of course, nothing in life is free. And of course, he was going to need some kind of payment to give to Bombsight for that V1. And that reason ended up being way more emotional than I expected. Bombsight wanted Soldier Boy to depower him so he could live the rest of his life with his significant other. Now, he had been keeping V1 just in case his lover ever decided she wanted to become immortal with him. But that day, unfortunately, never came. Because in the first place, she never wanted to become immortal. So, instead of chasing power forever, he decided he wanted to become mortal and eventually die by her side. And honestly, I thought that was really well done. It beats Homelander or Soldier Boy just beating the hell out of Bombsight until he gave up the V1. That would have been pretty predictable and kind of boring. I'm not going to lie. Instead, this made the moment feel deserved. It gave Bombsight a real reason to let it go, and it also showed that even this late in the boys, there is still some humanity left in certain soups. Then, Homelander finally gets what he's always wanted, the V1. Soldier Boy hands it over to him, and I know everyone watching this scene was probably going insane, like, oh my God, why would Soldier Boy do this? Didn't he want to destroy the V1 just a couple episodes ago, before Homelander could ever get his hands on it? And yes, he did. But after Season 5, I think something changed. When Malch Chemical knocked Homelander out, Soldier Boy had every chance to just leave him there, or even kill him himself. But he didn't. Instead, he saved Homelander and wiped out everyone in the room. Almost like he felt disrespected that someone else even touched his son like that. That was the moment where it felt like Soldier Boy finally came to his senses in the most twisted way possible. Like, damn, this is my son, and nobody is going to mess with him but me. And then Episode 6 pushes that even further with the Stormfront scene. When Soldier Boy and Homelander start bonding over her, as weird and uncomfortable as that whole conversation really was, it really shows you that Soldier Boy has officially picked a side. He's not trying to stop Homelander anymore. He's not going to destroy the V1 anymore. He is now going to hand it right to him. And to me, that is insane. Because I never thought we would get to this point at all. I never thought Soldier Boy would go from trapping Homelander in a radiation cage to basically handing him the biggest power upgrade of his entire life. But that's what makes the episode go so insane. It takes the relationship between Homelander and Soldier Boy in a direction I genuinely did not expect at all. Even Sister Sage and all the boys had this look on their face like, oh my God, that was impossible. There's no way Soldier Boy just did that. But man, oh man, what an episode. I am so happy we are finally back in the action because Episode 6 felt like this season just hit the gas again. And if this is what we're getting now, then Episode 7 and 8 are going to be absolutely bonkers. Now that Homelander has the V1 in his system, Soldier Boy is on his side. I don't even know what's going to happen, but this is going to be insane. Now, please let me know what you guys think about this in the comments down below. Do you think Soldier Boy should have never given Homelander the V1? Or do you actually think it made sense that he handed it over after him and Homelander bonded over Stormfront? Because, I'm not going to lie, I still do think that writing choice was a little bit iffy. I understand what they were going for, and I get that Soldier Boy is starting to see Homelander differently now. But going from wanting to destroy the V1 to literally handing it over to him is still a pretty wild jump. And now I'm actually really curious to see how Homelander is actually going to die. Because if he was already almost unstoppable before, then what the heck are they supposed to do with him?